We're here for the special Nesivos Shalom Shir for the Yom Tov of Sukkos, Tafshin Pei Hey, and really we're just about one day before the Yom Tov of Sukkos, so we're going to try to get across a special message, something that everybody could use for the Yom Tov. And tomorrow night is going to be, Emir Hashem, this joyous Yom Tov of Sukkos, known in our tefillos as Zman Simchaseinu, a really very, very special time with a special mitzvah for this Yom Tov, a special mitzvah to be b'simcha. And as we all know, you're telling somebody that they should be b'simcha, they have to be b'simcha, we want you to be b'simcha. It's not always the easiest thing to do, to be happy for the entire Yom Tov, which means the nights and the days and Chol Hamoed and Shabbos Chol Hamoed and pressure times when you're in the Yom Tov, preparing for Yom Tov, going away, deciding what to do Chol Hamoed, preparing for Shmini Atzeres, for Simchas Torah. There's a lot of things that could put a person under a little bit stress, a little bit pressure, yet Zman Simchaseinu. We have a special mitzvah this Yom Tov to be b'simcha, and it's a mitzvah every minute, and it's a mitzvah that every person should really be trying to do. Imagine that you're greeting people, you're smiling at people, you're just being b'simcha with your life, your family, your situation. Not always the easiest thing, and sometimes really very much it could be a challenge, but what we do know is that it's a special mitzvah, and it's something every one of us is going to try to do. And sometimes you need to actually practice a little bit. Maybe tomorrow on Erev Sukkos, practice smiling, especially if you haven't really smiled much the whole year. If it's not your nature to smile a lot, so you have to work out the muscles. Tomorrow on Erev Sukkos, you have to practice a little bit, force yourself to be happy, and you practice a little bit, and I'm telling you, everybody should know that it could be done. And really, the main point of this Zman Simchaseinu, the main point of this being b'simcha, is that we should feel and we should understand that Hashem wants us to be happy. And we should know, besides knowing that Hashem wants us to be happy, we should be aware of the fact that where does true happiness comes from? True happiness comes from spiritual satisfaction. And everybody, it's a message that sometimes you have to work on a little bit. That true happiness comes from ruchnius, from being close to Hashem. So if we're looking for ways to be mekayim this mitzvah, this great mitzvah of Simcha on Yom Tov, that's what we have to focus on. We need to focus on being close to and living the Yom Tov with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that needs to be our mindset. That needs to be the mindset as we go into the Yom Tov. And really, if you haven't discovered this yet, it's a very important lesson. If you haven't discovered it yet, you're soon going to realize that physical things and pursuits never really satisfy a person deeply. They really, really don't. It's not a way to happiness, and it's not the end to happiness. Physical things and possessions and things that we pursue in this Gashmius world, as soon as you acquire the item that you wanted so much, as soon as you reach that level, as soon as you reach that point and you acquire what you wanted to, and you acquire that thing that you were sure was going to bring you happiness, it's almost guaranteed that you're on to the next thing right away. You need something, the new and improved, better item, or you need the item that's newer, the newest model, the new thing that came out that all your friends and all your neighbors and all the advertisements around you are showing you that you need the new and improved, and you need the better, and you need the bigger, and you need the newest model. So as soon as you have what you have, you're gonna have to move on to the next thing. It's not really possible to totally satisfy yourself and be happy in that way. It's really never enough. So now when you're sitting in the sukkah, and you're going to sit in the sukkah tomorrow night, and you can sit down, and you're going to say the Hirotzain, and you're going to say the Ushpizin, and you're going to sit down at the table in the sukkah and make Kiddush, a person has to imagine when you're sitting there, and you have to consciously think about it, that you're surrounded by the love and the care of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who we said it so many times over the past couple of weeks, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is our Avinu, he's our Father, he's also Malkeinu, he's our King. So he's a compassionate, loving Father, at the same time as he's a King who has the power to do everything and anything at any given time. And any Yeshua could be brought in an instant. It's like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we said it so many times, so at least that lesson should still be fresh in our minds. So when you sit down in the sukkah, you need to imagine that you're being surrounded by that love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what we do is we take all our gashmias things, the things that during the year we're convinced and we think might make us happy, we leave that all behind in the house. And it's okay, and it's nice, and it's beautiful to have the most beautiful sukkah, but the fact of the matter is it's not a long-term solution to sukkah, right? It's not a long-term residence. It's still a temporary residence. It's not where you live the whole year. We're at least symbolically saying that we're leaving behind all the physical things that we thought would give us pleasure, all the physical things and comfort that we use and we rely on so much the whole year. We go outside and we go into the sukkah to spend time with the protection and the warmth and the embrace of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And is there a more secure feeling in the world than that? I hardly doubt it. That is a tremendously secure and very good feeling. And that is true simcha. Knowing that we have a Father in Shamayim, that we have a King, and that he loves us and he wants to do everything for us. All he's asking us for is to be part of the family, to be close, to be part of the kingdom, to sign up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants that from us. And then we know that we are being taken care of, and that is true simcha. And the Nesivos Shalom says a mashal, and he says, you know what Sukkos is? You know what Sukkos is to every one of us? And he says, imagine you have a prince that left the palace and he became alienated from the royal family. You know, all the years he lived in the palace, he was brought up in the palace, and he leaves, and he's now alienated from the royal family, doesn't talk to anybody. And one day, finally, after a couple of years, this son, this prince, decides that he wants to come home. He's coming back home. And of course, the king is happy to greet him, his son, the prince, maybe the heir to the throne, and he's back home. But the king still has some doubts about what's going on here. And he's thinking to himself that I don't know if the prince really came back home with a full heart. Maybe he only came home out of fear that one day the king is going to say, Ad Kan, I've had enough. He's going to send out a search party, and he's going to go find the prince, and he's going to lock him up in jail. He's going to punish him for leaving the palace, for leaving the family, and maybe out of fear of that, that is what prompted and gave the prince the idea to come back to the palace, to come back home. So he doesn't know. It's not complete in his mind. He doesn't know. He doesn't know if his son came home with a full heart. Maybe he's just afraid that he's going to be disciplined. But after a little while, the king sees the joy that his son, that the prince now goes about following the requests and everything that the king is asking him to do, Everything that the king and the queen want, he's doing it with such joy and with such energy. Now he knows, now the king is convinced and he's comfortable that his son really came home because he missed his father, because he missed his mother, because he missed the royal family. He wants to be back in the palace. Says the Nesivos Shalom, this is Klal Yisrael. So too with Klal Yisrael. We just went through an Elul. We just went through Yomim Noraim, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and we did Tshuva. And you know what? We were Mekabel the whole time to come back home. We were Mekabel that we're coming back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like over Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we put so much energy and thought into coming back close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we decided that we want to be better people and that we're ready to come back to Hashem. But Hashem is like that king in the mashal. Hashem can feel that maybe we only did tshuva out of yira, out of fear, out of fearing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu may punish us one day for our deeds, our missteps, or our chatoim. Maybe that's why we came back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu over Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. But when we come to the Yom Tov of Sukkos, and we come to the Sukkah full of joy, we want to be here with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We want to be sitting in the Sukkah with you. We want to be close to you. We come to the Sukkah full of Avas Hashem, not just Yiras Hashem. We come full of Ava. Then Hashem knows that we came back with serving Him with love. We have to take this Yontif and we talk, and when it comes to Kiddush, and it comes to the Shpiz, and it comes to the table, Hashem sees it on our face, that inside, not just on our face, but inside, we feel so close, and we feel so, that we want to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We do it with such joy, and we're just like that prince who is now showing that it's not out of fear, it's because we wanted to be back home, and we love being back home with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that really is the essence of Chag HaSukkos, Zman Simchasenu, that where we begin the new year serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Ava and Simcha Gedola. And that's what Hashem wants to see from us. The Simchas Beis HaShe'eva that took place on Sukkos, the pouring of the water, the Nisuch HaMayim, that represents the great outpouring, the great outpouring of Chesed and Ava, as we know that that's what the water represents. And these are all symbolic and symbolisms of the Yom Tov of Sukkos. And all this comes especially right after the Yom Noraim, where it is possible, where we came back and we did tshuva, but it's possible it's only from Yira, so we're showing Kadosh Baruch Hu, no, it's not just because of Yira. We need to keep this idea in mind that it's because we have a great simcha that we want to be back in the shelter. We're leaving our physical things behind. We want to be sheltered and in the embrace of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to appreciate everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us and does for us throughout the year and every day, even from the time we wake up in the morning to whatever is going on around you in your life. Nothing takes place without the chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu every minute. And for that, we owe HaKadosh Baruch Hu tremendous hakaras hatoiv and love. Avas Hashem. Hashem is telling us that I want you to be in my house, in my place, where Yontif, where we come close together. And through that, we're showing Hashem that it's Avas Hashem. That it's not just out of Yira, that we come to the Sukkah, we come to this Yontif out of true and great love. And therefore, this Yontif Dafka, Zman Simchasenu. This is the time of Simcha. This is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see the Simcha. So everybody, let's get going. Let's practice. We have another day. No, tremendous chus to not get upset or not show any kind of kas or kina or anything chas v'shalom over Yontif. We should all be zeicha to have a Chag Sameach, a beautiful Yontif for you and your families, and we should all be zeicha to sit in the Sukkos Oirei Shel Leviyasan B'mheira B'yameinu. Amen.